let's go ahead and get started. So we'll begin as usual in a nice, comfortable, steady, seated posture so that we can just kind of tune into ourselves for a minute before we get going. So as you find an aligned spine, go ahead and close your eyes, relax your shoulders, take a deep breath in. Big sigh through the mouth. Just kind of settle into your skin, noticing each and every part of your body. And then start breathing a little deeper, a little slower. Ujjayi breath is always preferable. And then go ahead and take a look at your thoughts, your emotions, your energy, and your sense of connection. And then go ahead and bring palms together in front of the heart. Let's each set our own personal intention for practice today. So whatever it is that you need or desire, let that be part of your intention. And then when you're clear on that, take an extra deep inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Relax your arms. Roll your shoulders back a couple of times, and we're going to begin standing. So just go ahead and come on up to the front of the mat. Really feeling the feet root down. So spread your toes, plant your heels. And I want you to just feel all of your muscles engaging. So think of that as your muscles embracing your bones. There's a difference between being really tense and simply having energy running through the muscles. So you just want everything kind of alive and turned on, but not tense. So you should feel your legs kind of activating as they hug the bones. You should feel your spine lengthening as your core engages. You should feel fingers extend, but not hyperextend. And so you just have this nice sense of rooted stability. Take a big inhale, reach the arms up, spread your fingers, lift your chest, look up if that feels okay with your neck. Let's hold this for a couple of breaths. So Urdhva Hastasana just means upward facing hands. This is actually a really positive, happy, healthy posture to just hold for a couple of breaths. On your next exhale, you can bend your knees, fold forward, totally relax your neck. And just allow the weight of your head to draw length into your spine. So you're just hanging in ragdoll, really focusing on relaxing all of your muscles as you exhale so that your spine can lengthen. On your next inhale, we'll come all the way back up. Reach the arms up and overhead. And exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart. Inhale, reach your arms up. And as you exhale, lengthen your spine, folding all the way forward into your standing forward bend. From here, we'll go half forward bend, which is to lift the chest and look up or forward. And then exhale all the way back down. I'm going to have you step back with your right foot. So you have a left foot forward lunge today. And as you kind of settle into this, just feel into any sensation that you're aware of at the moment. Now, it completely depends on how far back you stepped. and whether or not you're holding your hips up in the air, but you might want to slide your right foot back a little bit and let the hips sink a little bit so that you're feeling this not only in the back of your left thigh, but in the front of the right thigh and right hip. And to play with that, you might consider this gentle forward and back rocking motion. It's very small. You kind of push through your right heel and then push through the left knee. Do that a couple more times. And then we're just going to drop the right knee down and extend the left leg. Flex the ankle and toes. Pull your chest forward. So we're just stretching a little deeper into that left hamstring. Bend your left knee now. Bring the arms up and overhead. Tilt your pelvis back, lift your rib cage, and allow your hips to move forward. So now we're trying to intensify or concentrate on the stretch in the front of the right hip, right thigh. Bring just your right hand down to the mat and take your left hand and actually put it on the inside of your left knee. Roll to the outside edge of your left foot and then begin to apply gentle pressure to the inside of your left knee or left thigh. So we're kind of waking up the inner outer thigh on this left side. And then let your left knee point back up towards the ceiling. Bring your left hand down inside the left foot. See if you can bring your right forearm to the mat or to a block, and maybe even the left forearm comes down. Make sure your left knee is pointing up towards the ceiling and that you're kind of pulling your left hip back a little bit, almost like you're trying to square your hips off with the front of your mat. Come back up onto your hands from here and let your left knee meet your right knee. Wag your tail a moment. And then let's take our first child's pose and take a couple of breaths here. From here, we'll scoot forward into a nice spine lengthening sphinx. As you know, in order to lengthen your spine, your glutes have to be disengaged here. So make sure your buns are soft and relaxed and that you're actually pulling with your forearms to pull some length into your spine. And then the next time you breathe out, just transition into downward facing dog. You are more than welcome to pedal your feet a couple of times before you find stillness here. And then go ahead and take a big step forward with your right foot. So again, you're just kind of settling into this right foot forward lunge. And I'd like you to make sure that you can allow your hips to sink. So you might need to slide your left foot back. You want your hips low, and you want to not only feel it in the back of the right thigh, but also in the front of your left hip and thigh. So if you liked doing it on the other side, you can add in that little bit of a forward and back rocking motion. So we're just really working on that thigh separation. And then you're going to drop the left knee down and we'll extend the right leg, flexing the ankle and toes, pulling the chest forward. So just a little bit deeper stretch, concentrated stretch in that right hamstring. Then we'll bend the right knee, bring the arms up and overhead. That tailbone tucks under as we allow the whole pelvis to just move forward until we feel the front of the left hip and thigh. Bring just your left hand down to the mat. Your right hand's going to come literally onto the inside of the right knee. First, you roll onto the outside edge of your right foot, and then you start to apply a little bit of pressure with your right hand. So waking up the inner outer thigh on this right side. Let your right knee point back up towards the ceiling, bringing your right hand down inside the right foot. You can use a block if that's helpful to you, but we're going to try and get down onto the left forearm, maybe even the right one. Either way, make sure that your right knee is pointing up towards the ceiling and you're kind of pulling your right hip back a little bit, pulling left hip forward, almost as though you're squaring your hips off with the front of the mat. Come back up onto your hands. You're going to step forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach your arms up and stretch. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, all the way back down. This time, we're going to step back with our left foot, spin the heel flat, and come up into warrior two. And just kind of take a moment to really get yourself situated. Try and get your right shin vertical and make sure that that outer right hip is very engaged. So your right knee should not be dropping in. It's actually kind of pressing out towards your little toe. Your left leg is straight and hopefully your left foot slightly rotated in. Torso is as close to vertical as you can get it. And your arms are reaching out to the side while you're gazing over your right middle finger. So we're going to bring the right forearm to the right thigh. Reach the left arm up and overhead. Hold for a couple of breaths, lengthening out left side of the spine. Come back up, taking left hand to left thigh, right arm up and over to reverse the warrior. Make sure you don't get lazy with that right knee. It stays bent and pressing out towards the little toe. You're going to come all the way back up and straighten your right leg. Kick the left hip to the left. Lengthen your rib cage to the right. And I want you to be really mindful today of keeping your right leg straight. Right hand can be on the shin, left hand to the ceiling, or it can continue to slide all the way down wherever you need it to be for your triangle pose. But I want you to be mindful of not leaning forward, so you should be aligned over your right thigh. Try and have your spine long and both legs straight. Bring your left hand down. I want you to rotate your right foot in slightly. So I kind of point mine towards my top left corner of the mat. Keep your hands down. Those of you with knee issues, be mindful. If you can, I want you to keep your right heel flat on the ground. Your left toes are going to point at the ceiling, and you're going to sink your hips. Maybe the hands come off the ground, maybe they don't. Only go as far as you can. You should have a straight left leg and feel an inner thigh stretch. Take one more deep inhale and exhale here. And then you're just going to bring your hands back on either side of your right foot, swivel all the way around. You'll find yourself in that right foot forward lunge. Gaze forward and see what it feels like to begin straightening your right leg. It doesn't have to go straight. You're just seeing what it feels like. And then we're just gonna step the right leg straight back, downward facing dog, and stretch. Those of you that like to take full vinyasas may begin doing that while the rest of us do our gentler flow. So if you're with me, you're gonna drop to your knees. We'll just take a child's pose. And if you're in child's pose and you would like to scoot forward into either Sphinx or Cobra, you can do that. And then we'll all meet up again in downward facing dog. From this downward facing dog, we're going to take a big step forward with the left foot, spin the right heel flat, and come up into a warrior two. And I would love it for you to go ahead and take a moment to double check those alignment cues. So your left shin is perpendicular to the floor, your right leg is straight, right foot should be slightly rotated in. Your torso is vertical, your left outer hip is very engaged. You have a soft gaze over an outstretched left middle finger. Let's bring left forearm to left thigh, right arm reaches up and over. And then keeping the left knee bent, come back up and reverse your warrior. Right hand on your right thigh, left arm up and over. Keep that left knee pressing out towards the little toe. That left outer hip is very engaged. We're gonna come back up, straightening the left leg, kicking the hip to the right a little bit, lengthening the spine. Please try and have your left leg straight for this today. And your left hand can be at your shin, your ankle, your foot, the floor, but we want the left leg straight. The left side of the spine lengthening. We want to make sure that we're aligned over our left leg. Ideally, you're feeling a little something on that inner left thigh. Now, from here, we're going to bring the right hand down, just like we did on the other side. I want you to rotate your left foot in. This all depends on your knee, right? Your knee should track over your toes. If you can, left heel is flat. I keep my toes kind of pointing at this right front corner of the mat. That's totally up to you. You're going to start bending into your left knee as much as you comfortably can with your right toes pointing towards the ceiling. So maybe hands are on the ground and you're only halfway down. That's enough. Maybe you can release your hands to prayer. It's completely up to you. Take one more breath. You should feel a nice stretch in your right inner thigh. Go ahead and hands come back down. Just swivel back around so that you're in that high lunge with your left foot forward. Gaze forward. See what it feels like to start straightening your left leg. And it's fine if it doesn't go straight. We're just kind of experimenting here, right? From here, you're going to step straight back to downward facing dog and stretch. And then walk your feet forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Turn sideways and take a nice wide step out. To begin with, our feet are going to point directly forward. And this first time down, if you can, try and keep your legs straight. It's pretty gentle. You're just going to hinge at your hips. Grab your elbows and hang. Take a couple of breaths. Fingertips come to the ground, or if you need to, they can come onto a block. Try and keep your right leg straight. Walk your hands towards your right foot. Stretch your torso out over a, hopefully, straight right leg. And you should feel this both in the hamstring and the inner thigh. Walk both of your hands over to your left foot. Try and keep your left leg straight. Try and extend your spine out over that left leg, feeling it in your left hamstring and left inner thigh. Come back to the center. Now, it depends on your body, but if you feel like you can, please take your feet wider. In other words, I don't want you to hurt yourself, and I don't want you to hold back. Get your feet as far apart as you feel like you can handle, and then you're just going to keep your hands on the ground, or if you can, if you're low enough, you're welcome to get the forearms down. Just a couple of breaths here. And then we're just going to toe heel the feet into a moderately wide stance with the toes facing out slightly, external rotation. Go ahead and bend your knees with your hands on your thighs, arms locked out. So you guys have done this with me before. It's a little spinal traction, but we're going to use it for the inner thighs as well. So the first thing you're going to do is press against the inside of your left thigh. Twist and look over your right shoulder. Now, if you feel like you can, only if you feel like you can, move your left hand higher up the inside of that left thigh, and bend the right elbow, twist a little deeper. Take one more breath. So the left side of your spine is traction, your left hip is stretching, but your left inner thigh is as well. Come back to center. Push against the inside of the right thigh, twist and look over left shoulder. If you can. Right hand moves up the inside of the thigh. Left elbow bends a little deeper. Come back to the center. Straighten your legs. Roll your shoulders back. Do some wrist circles if you need to. And then we're just going to move into a standing variation of frog, Bakasana. So there's far too many of this group that's got knee issues, and we always want to honor that. There's never, ever any reason to do a pose that's bad for your body. So we're all going to do a standing frog today, no wall involved. So here's the deal. You want to make sure that your knees continue to track over your toes. We're basically going into the same stance we were just in, except we're going to keep our torso totally vertical and make sure our outer hips are really engaged, that our knees are pressing out, out, out. So start slowly. Keep your torso lifted. Start to bend your knees. If it's just a little, that's okay. If you can go deeper, you keep going. Those knees are pressing as though I'm trying to reach them back behind me. I'm going to stay vertical. I'm going to go as far down as I can before I want to scream, and then I'm going to take 2 more breaths. Straighten your legs, rotate the feet in so you can toe heel your feet together, and then come back to the front of the mat. Palms together in front of your heart. Inhale, reach your arms up. And as you exhale, fold forward. Standing forward bend. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down. Move back onto your hands and knees. Wag your tail for a moment if you like. But even if you're going to take a regular vinyasa, take a breath or 2 in child's pose, it'll kind of shorten up a lot of what you were opening out in that standing frog. So those of you doing a regular flow, off you go. The rest of us are going to scoot forward into either Sphinx or Cobra. And then we're all headed for downward facing dog. Really, really stretch those hips up and back. Lengthen your spine. And then take a big step forward with your right foot. Spin your left heel flat. I want you to come back into warrior two for the second time. So you already know your alignment cues. But this time, if you feel like you can, I'm just going to ask you to scoot your right foot way forward. Try and bend the knee a little deeper. Woo, that's a much nicer, deeper warrior two. And then go ahead and straighten your right leg, but keep that distance. Lengthen your rib cage to the right. And let's just try a deeper, deeper, deeper triangle here. Make sure that right leg stays straight. From here, you're just going to bring your left hand down and step straight back to downward facing dog. Lengthening out for a moment before we step the left foot forward. Right foot flat. Warrior two a second time on the left. If you can, you scoot that left foot forward and really sink into it. Nice deep warrior two. And then straighten your left leg. Lengthen the rib cage to the left and see if you can find a deeper triangle. Now, maybe you can't. Maybe today is not your deep, deep triangle day. And if that's the case, that's what you're working with and you honor that. So we're never trying to push beyond what our body is capable of. We might go to that edge, but we never push beyond. This is supposed to be a therapeutic practice. Never, ever about injury. Right hand down. Just take a moment and lengthen that over that left leg. And then from here, we're going to step forward to our standing forward bend. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. We're going to turn sideways one more time and just take a moderately wide stance. So not as wide as you can go, but not like, don't make it a skinny wide, make it medium wide. And so from your medium wide stance, toes point directly forward. You're going to hinge at your hips. Now, whether you can get your hands to the floor or not, what I want you to do is look down at your hands and make them look like little mittens. All four fingers are together and you're sticking your thumbs out. They're right in front of you. You're going to reach them back and see if you can just hook them with slightly bent knees now on your heels. So your thumbs are on the inside, your four fingers are on the outside, or maybe it's your calves. That's fine. Push against your heels as you start straightening your legs. Now the legs aren't going to go all the way straight, but boy, oh boy, should you feel something. You're pushing against your heels. You're trying to straighten your legs. Take one more breath. Release your hands to the mat. Now go a little bit wider with your feet, one or two steps out. Not as completely wide as you can go, but pretty wide. And I'd like you to reach your hands through your legs and start kind of pulling your torso through. So you're reaching behind you and using a little bit of traction. Now, if your head hits the floor before you're feeling maximum stretch, bring the feet in a little bit. But you want to walk your hands behind you and pull. Take two more breaths, keeping the entire sole of the foot on the ground. Bring your hands back out in front of you. Toe heel your feet all the way together. Hold in a standing forward bend for a moment. And then inhale, reach the arms all the way up. And as you exhale, palms together in front of your heart. So we are going to balance today. Yay! And we're going to be holding a leg out to the side. So I'm giving you advance warning because if you know it's a wobbly day, you can have something within reach to put your fingertips on. I'm also giving you a warning in case you can't grab your pants or your thigh or your calf or your foot, you are welcome to use a strap. I just think it's not necessary here. We're gonna stand on the left foot first. Now, if you can, I'm gonna suggest you begin by grabbing your right leg wherever you're gonna grab it with both hands. So you're either grabbing your pants or the back of the right thigh or the back of the right calf, or you're grabbing your right foot with both hands. Then you're gonna take your left arm out to the left. And if you need to, hang on to something and then see if you can take your right leg out to the right. As much as possible, have that right leg straight. And then we're gonna put the right foot down, do the same thing on the other side. So, right toes spread, get a good solid foundation. Same thing here, if you can, grab hold of both hands, and it can be the top of your thigh, the back of the thigh, wherever you need to grab, and try and get that leg to fully extend. Then you take your right arm out to the right, and you take your left leg out to the left, and you try and keep it straight. And then bring that left leg back down, feet together, hands together. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down. Go ahead and step back onto your hands and knees. And so we're all just gonna do that kind of tripod variation of threading the needle because your body's primed for it, your inner thighs are ready. So your right leg is gonna stick straight out to the right with your leg straight and your foot flat, and you're gonna kind of slide your right foot up by your right shoulder. Forget all about your right leg, but go ahead and scoop your left arm underneath like you normally do for threading the needle. And then see if you can take your right arm up to the ceiling and maybe roll the chest open a little bit. You're welcome to grab your right foot or leg with your left hand, but it's not necessary. You want your shoulder and your neck to be comfortable. Take a couple more breaths here. Right hand comes back down, and we just put the left hand on the ground and tuck our right knee back underneath us. Extend your left leg out to the left. You want the whole foot flat, by the way. Trust me on that one. And then bring the foot up a little bit closer to the left shoulder. Forget about your left leg. Right arm scoops underneath like you normally would for threading the needle, and left arm, if you can, reaches for the ceiling and maybe even drops behind you if you roll your chest open. If you want to grab your left leg, that's fine, but it's not necessary. And then we come out of that, a little tail wag. If you like, those of you doing vinyasas, take your last one. The rest of us are going to take a child's pose. And then scoot forward into either Sphinx or Cobra, whichever one feels better to you. And then downward facing dog. Lengthen as much as you possibly can in your down dog. And then just go ahead and walk your feet forward. Have a seat, extend your legs. And of course, we'll take a moment in Dandasana to just pause and check in. So earlier at the beginning of the mat, we were talking about engaging the muscles, right? It's the same thing here. It's like your muscles are hugging in towards your bones. Your core is hugging in, and that forces your spine to be straight and your legs to be active. It's really everything you need. Hands can be on the floor behind your back or not. It just depends. But just kind of come back into awareness of that activation of all of your muscles. And then check in also with your breathing, your thoughts, your emotions, and your energy. And then inhale, reach the arms up. And as you exhale, just try and lay your torso out over your thighs. Relax the shoulders down the back and take a couple of breaths in a seated forward bend. And then come on up from that. And of course, we're going to take our legs into a wide V. You're primed and ready for it. Please make sure you're still very much on your sit bones, the base of the pelvis. And if you need to have your hands behind you, like pushing the chest up and forward to achieve that, then please do. Great to have your hands behind you if you need them there. Now, if you don't need them there, they can either be on your shins or feet, or they can be on the floor. We're going to keep the legs very active, toes pointing up, and just allow our breath and gravity to move us down wherever we're supposed to be today. And wherever that is, whether it's almost flat on the floor or almost vertical, we're good with it because that's what the body needs. It'll stop us when it needs to. So take about 3 more breaths here and just allow your breath to help relax your body. Walk the hands back up. Keep the knees wide, but bring the soles of the feet together. Hands are right behind the backside. We press our knees straight out to the side or kind of away from each other before we reach them down to the ground. And then keep your feet where they're at, but go ahead and grab your feet. This is what most people want to do anyway. And it's okay if it feels all right in your back and your neck. It's okay with me if you round your back. It's also okay if you don't. We're just going to lean over the legs. So you might lean forward with a flat back, or you might round forward. Whatever's working for you today, go with that. Now, as you come up from that, you're going to either grab your left big toe with the first 2 fingers and thumb of your left hand and the right big toe with the first 2 fingers and thumb of your right hand, or you're going to grab the outside edges of your feet with all 4 fingers. You do whichever one feels good to you. I want you to lift your chest, lift your heels off the ground. Make sure that if you roll backwards, you're going to roll into a good place, just in case. And then without letting go of your feet, extend your right leg out to the right. Bring that right foot back in, extend your left leg out to the left. Bring that left leg back in. Here we are, going for the gold. Extend both legs out. Lift your chest as much as you can. Take a couple of breaths. Try and have your legs straight. And then you can bring your feet down to the ground, roll onto your back, hug your knees in, and rock side to side. So for our inversion today, definitely honoring any back and neck issues. If you have back, neck, or shoulder issues and you've got a block handy, you can just put your bum up on a block. If you don't have a block handy and you do have back, neck, or shoulder issues, you can just stick your legs in the air and do everything from here flat on your back. For those of you that are lucky and fortunate enough to have happy, healthy neck, shoulders, and backs, we're gonna hike our hips into our hands. Regardless of whether you're on a block, on the floor, or buns in the air, the leg positions will be the same. So either put your hips on a block or hike your hips into your hands, or just stick your legs up. But either way, we want our legs kind of vertical. And then I want you to bring your right leg kind of over your head, left leg pressing away. And then switch, left leg kind of comes over your head, right leg pressing away. Legs go back up as vertical as possible, and then drop them open into a wide V. Feet are active, legs are as straight as you can get it. Gravity is suddenly your friend. And then bring the knees back together, roll down onto your back, and hug your knees in. So we're gonna keep the left knee hugged in. Extend the right leg all the way out onto the ground. And then we're gonna do the left half of dead bug, but I want it to almost look like the left half of a frog. So your left arm comes to the inside of your bent left knee. You're gonna grab the arch of your left foot. Before you try and get your lower leg vertical, push your left knee as far out to the left as you can get it. Then try and get that lower leg vertical and pull straight down. So if you're kind of pressing that left knee out to the left side, not only are you going to feel this in your right hamstring, but you should get a little something, something in your left inner thigh, maybe even some sensation in that left outer hip. Take a couple more breaths here. And then we're just going to hug that left knee again and transition this into a little twist. Left leg comes across the body, left arm opens to the left, head turns to the left. If you need to modify this, you would bend both knees. That'll help alleviate some of the rotation in the spine. Whatever version of the twist you're doing, I want you to really start to soften your body into it. One more breath here, you guys. On your next inhale, come on back up. As you exhale, hug your left knee into your chest. Then you can bring your right knee up to meet it. Give yourself a little rock if you like. And then keep the right knee hugged in. Extend your left leg all the way out onto the ground. So same thing here with that right side of your dead bug. We want to make sure that we're pushing our right knee out to the right before we reach down and grab the sole of the foot. Then you're going to try and get that lower leg vertical. So you should feel it a little more intently. You're still pulling down, but you want that right knee kind of reaching out to the right side of your torso. Take a couple of breaths. If you're feeling this in your right hamstring, that's awesome. If you're feeling it in your hamstring and a little bit in the inner thigh, outer hip, even better. Take 2 more breaths. And then just hug your right knee. And we'll transition it into a gentle twist. You're just going to open your right arm out to the right and twist to your left. Remember, if you need to, you can bend both knees. If it's all right with your neck, your head's turning to the right. And then you're just relaxing and softening your body here. Just one more breath on this side. And then on your next inhale, come on back up. And as you exhale, hug your right knee in. Bring your left knee up to meet it. Give yourself a nice side to side rock. And then I'd like you to go ahead and put your feet on the mat with your knees bent. Ankles and knees are together. And today, coordinated with nice, slow, controlled breathing, we're going to do our legs like butterfly wings. As you exhale, you allow your knees to drop open, soles of the feet together in reclined bound angle. As you inhale, you let those knees come back up until they're touching and facing the ceiling. So you exhale, it's like you're opening your wings. You inhale, it's like you're folding them closed again. Nice slow breaths equate to nice slow movements. Just keep moving in this way at your own breath rate. And then the next time that your knees drop open with the soles of the feet together, you're going to leave them there. The next time you breathe in, I'd like you to just press your low back into the mat. So we're tilting the pelvis back, effectively removing our lumbar curve. The knees are still open. There's not a ton of effort here. We're just making sure the low back feels lengthened, breathing normally. On your next exhale, you'll just relax all the tension in the body and you'll feel your lumbar curve return. One more time, we inhale, we press the low back into the mat, we keep breathing normally. And then as we exhale, we relax and allow that natural arch to come back into the back. You're going to extend your legs. And prepare yourself for Shavasana. So just taking a moment, still staying with the legs. Maybe the legs want to be closer together today because they've been doing all this wide straddle stretching, right? Or maybe they want to take advantage of those relaxed inner thighs and go really wide. But experiment. Don't just assume you know what's best because of history. Stay present. What does your body want right now, right here today? Then relax your glutes, lengthen your spine. Find a place where your hands are below your shoulders, the arms are extended, the palms are facing skyward. And you can relax the shoulders and then lengthen the neck, relax the jaw, soften the forehead, gently close the eyes. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Big exhale through the mouth. And just allow your body to nestle downward until every muscle is as relaxed as it could possibly be. Feel your breath relaxing in response to your relaxed body. Feel your thoughts even starting to slow down a little bit and be less frantic or noisy or rowdy. And then I'd like you to just bring your awareness to the space between your navel and your pubic bone. So think a couple of inches below your navel. And even though your breath has become soft and shallow and even and gentle, notice any sensation at that point between the navel and the pubic bone. So this point that I'm asking you to focus on is the location of Svadhisthana chakra, which is your second energy center. If you imagined two funnels with their smaller ends together, and you turned them so that the larger ends were facing forward and backward, that's what it is said your energy center would look like. So you would feel part of it facing the back of your mat and the other part, the front part of your lower abdomen. The color associated with this area is orange. And there's a syllable called a seed syllable or bija mantra that is associated with this area. And by the way, it's very much connected to your bladder. So if you had a lot of water or coffee or something to drink prior to practice, you might be even more aware of this area, and that's actually a plus. So don't consider that a hindrance. So if you're aware of your bladder right now, then you are in the right place. And so the seed mantra that goes along with this particular energy center is VAM. V-A-M, but the A is pronounced like a short U, VAM. So for the next minute or so, I would love for you to keep your focus on this area of your lower abdomen. Envision that beautiful orange funnel shape opening upward and backward. And perhaps vibrate in your mind the syllable VAM. In other words, to yourself, say the syllable VAM. 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 Notice if it was easy for you to maintain focus on that area. Notice if it was challenging. Don't judge, regardless of what you observe. And then begin to deepen your breath a little bit. Begin to move your fingers and toes a little bit. As you're ready, take that extra deep inhale. Spread your fingers and toes. Exhale through your mouth, relax them. Even deeper breath in and stretch. And exhale and relax. Bend your knees or even hug them in if you like. Roll to your right side. And when you're ready, use your left hand in front of your chest and press up into sitting. So as you find that nice straight spine, we're going to do really simple pranayama today because there's no control of the breath today. We're just going to be watching it. What I'd like for you to do is you're just going to interlace your fingers. This is called a Venus lock, but I'd like you to do it so that your left thumb is on top. So if you usually interlace your fingers and your right thumb is on top, just switch it. You want your left thumb on top. And then you're just going to simply relax your arms and let your hands rest in your lap. So elbows are down by your sides and you're just letting your hands rest in your lap. And you'll notice when you do that, you're right in front of your second chakra. Your hands are cupped in front of Svadhisthana chakra. And so what we're going to do today with a very straight spine and very relaxed arms is simply watch our breath and see if we can feel that subtle movement of the breath at the second energy center, maybe even becoming aware of your bladder, which, as I said, would be a good thing in this case. All breathing is through the nose. You're not controlling the breath, so it should still be pretty gentle and soft, but you're just aware of the subtle movement at your second energy center. Slowly allow your palms to come together in front of your heart. So we take a moment in gratitude for this ancient tradition, this lineage-based yoga that stretches back thousands and thousands of years, to the yogis that shared this information with us. And so just an aside, if you cut your body open, you're not going to find orange funnels. They're just useful concepts. I often say it's the same way that if you cut your head open, there's not an ego and an id, but they're useful concepts. So just kind of remembering that these help illustrate and bring our focus to certain areas of our anatomy doesn't necessarily mean they exist in a literal sense. But we're grateful for this instruction because it really helps us pinpoint certain areas in our body that we frequently need to bring attention to that we don't. So we take a moment in gratitude to the sages that gave us this information, that we're still able to use it in today's world where we arguably might need it more than ever. And we just take a moment in gratitude also that we're alive right now, right here on this planet, on this day. Take one more huge inhale. Big sigh. Palms to the forehead, just reminding us to stay present. Palms to the lips, reminding us to speak our truth. And palms to the heart, reminding us to keep our hearts open, to always practice kindness and compassion and love, and to include ourselves in that. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Namaste.